James Topp. If you don't know who he is, well, I mean, if you're Canadian and you don't know who he is, then shame on you. You've done nothing but contribute to the fact that we now have a dictatorship and not a democracy. If you're outside of the country, of course, it's perfectly understandable. Well, you may not have heard of James Topp. He's the Canadian military veteran who is walking from the Pacific Ocean, the West Coast, British Columbia, all the way to Ottawa to protest and make his voice heard. I think he's on day 82 or day 83 now. He walks every day. He walked through the Rocky Mountains in the depths of winter. On a good and average day, he does about 50 kilometers carrying his rucksack and his backpack with him. He's on a mission. He considers it a mission. But here's my point. The mainstream media has totally ignored him. He even stopped at the CBC, Canadian Broadcast Corporation, location on his way and said, have you heard of me? Want to talk to me? They said, no, we don't do news anymore. We're just a propaganda division of the government. Until just recently, where they've tried to vilify James by saying that he has 2 charges against him now. They make it sound like these are police charges for violations of Canadian law. They're not. You can go to canadamarches.ca to see James and his videos, his statements. But in a nutshell, those 2 charges are the same charge twice, and they're in-house military charges. No violations of Canadian law. What he did is speak out against the government, again on 2 occasions, while in uniform. And that's a code of conduct violation. I'm not sure if James has stated that he was well aware of, which page, which paragraph, and which line he was in violation of the code of conduct business. That's my opinion. Perhaps he has stated it or not, I don't know. No doubt in my mind he knew well and full what he was doing, although again, that is my opinion. But in part, the point is, this is what we call the mainstream media in Canada, which again is nothing more or less, and has been for quite some time now, literally a propaganda branch of the government. They do no investigative reporting. They do little in the way of news, local events or something. And the rest of the time they just parrot the propaganda of the government. And here's an example again of the mainstream media's work. First ignoring, and then a feeble attempt, but an attempt nonetheless to vilify James Topp. James will arrive in Ottawa, I think, at the end of June, does he think? Or in June. But imagine, over 80 days, solid walking. Hats off to James Topp.